You would have Alabama Jenga.
Just pull something in. What? What was that?
There it was. We knew it was gonna happen. Well, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna talk about Jenga. So we're here in northern Alabama. We got Adam here. I guess one of the most frequently asked questions we get is asking about rivers that we go to and like how we find them and how we scout for them. And I thought this would be a good time to bring Adam in here because we went to Canada last summer together, him, Steve, and I, and we fished somewhere completely new that none of us had ever fished. Adam was kind of in charge of scouting and finding the rivers that we were fishing, some of them more popular, some of them a little off the beaten path. And so we thought this would be a good way to kind of bring in just some tips and some tricks that we use to find new rivers, e-scouting like using Google Earth, and some tactics you guys can use for going to find new streams and looking for new water to fish.
That's definitely one thing that we get asked all the time. Yo, hey, where do I fish? Where should I go fish? Where are you guys fishing? A lot of different questions like that. So hopefully you find this video helpful and maybe being able to expand the areas that you're fishing in, find some new rivers, maybe even find your new favorite fishing spot. So one of the ways that I like to find and scout rivers before I ever even leave my house is Google Maps. I've got pulled up a spot here that we're gonna fish a little bit. Kind of wanted to walk through my mindset, what I think through and go through. So this is the Flint River, right outside of Huntsville, Alabama. He and I grew up fishing it. It's got a lot of cool bass and smallmouth in it, largemouth as well. But that doesn't mean just, this is the only river to do this on. Hopefully you can learn from this video, take this to your area where you live, and kind of zoom in, kind of use some of these techniques to scout some of your own rivers to then get out there and explore yourself. A lot of this video is going to be related to, maybe taking a drift boat, a raft, a kayak, or a canoe down through there. But you can definitely apply this as a wade fisherman as well. Finding those access points, good areas to wade. There's a lot of key indicators that would tell you that an area would be good enough to wade for you. One of the first things that I'm gonna look for is gonna be bridges. I might go in and save a pin. Just save that as a starred place. That might really help you when you zoom out to get a better feel for the bridges and accesses down that you may wanna go to. Also, that makes it really easy when you wanna go scout them. You can just click that guy right there, click route on your phone, and route right to it. So this is just the default view. I like that because it has the rivers marked. It's not as cluttered. I can see the bridges. The roads are absolutely obvious with the rivers. So I would just kind of scroll down through here, check those rivers out, put pins where there's bridges. Next thing I might do is come back up here and scroll over to satellite view. And I'm gonna zoom in on that. So that'll show us the bridge, the river, and may also show us some access points. We can pretty clearly see that there's a little gravel parking lot at this area right here. Obviously, you might not be 100% sure if you can get your boat in there. We use these rafts, as you'll see from our videos, so that we can drop these things in nearly any water. If you have a kayak or a canoe, obviously you're gonna be able to get in nearly anything. So here we are, day 2 at the put-in. Wanted to give you guys just a little bit of insight on what was running through my mind when I found this spot. So a little while back, I found this spot from just on Google Maps. I found a bridge over a river that I knew I wanted to fish. So here we are at this location. Drove up here, checked it out. Ended up being an awesome wading section. I knew that because there's a lot of islands here. If you see that on Google Maps, that usually means that there's gonna be a little bit shallower water. Usually is gonna be better for wading as well. Just so happened I came down. There's a little trail right next to the road over here. You could drive right down that on the little dirt road. Ended up, we were just got a little lucky. There's a really nice gravel ramp here that people have cleared out for their kayaks. Couldn't see that on Google Maps, but that was definitely one of the reasons I wanted to come check this spot out. This one ended up being a really great one for us because it's got both a boat ramp and a really cool wading spot as well.
Couldn't ask for a better eat on that one.
So guys, this is another spot that I wanted to talk about today.
Hold on, start over.
All right, start over, cut.
There's some hotties on Tinder here.
God damn it, Steven, it was so much easier to do this when you weren't here. All right, so this is another spot that I wanted to show you guys. So if this would be really easy to see on Google Maps. This main river is where we've been fishing today. We're down near the end of it where it's gonna empty into a reservoir. However, we've also seen online that we've got a feeder creek coming in. Well, so you can see on Google Maps how large this piece of the river is, where you would also be able to see this creek being pretty small. So this is pretty cool for two reasons. One, this could give you a really, possibly an accessible takeout. If you see these feeder creeks, it could mean that you could actually get up them and make it maybe easier to take your boat out closer to an access point or a bridge. But also number two is that a lot of these feeder creeks are fantastic places to fish, as they bring in a lot of nutrients. It floats everything out of that creek down. So any sort of minnows or anything like that, any sort of bait that doesn't get eaten upriver, all flows into here. So you have a lot of fish sit right here in this current. And the third thing is that a lot of these creeks, as they're coming in, might be shallow enough for you to wade. This could be a really cool spot for us to come in, park over here, or anchor up, and wade up this creek. If you're looking for different spots for you to access or fish, feeder creeks are always a really good one to look for on a map. So typically, whether you're cold water fishing for trout or warm water fishing for any type of warm water species, if you know that fish are in the main river, they're also going to be up the tributary as well. So up these feeder creeks will all have the fish species that you're targeting. And whether you're after trout or you're after smallmouth, these feeder creeks should have really good populations of those fish up them as well. So now you found a river. You found maybe a main river that you know that there's fish in, but then you found maybe a tributary you want to fish, or maybe it is even the river that initially you knew that fish were in. But I want to run through with you a little bit maybe what to look for on that river. So we can see here that there's obviously a parking lot. It's in this picture, it's obviously got a lot of cars in it. We can even see here that looks like there's some type of boat ramp, some sort of something to be able to help you maybe get your boats in the water, cleared out there. So just from looking at this, we would know that this is probably going to be a pretty popular area. Maybe a lot of what we call the plastic hatch, but quite a few people floating. That doesn't mean it's going to be a bad section. In fact, maybe it could even mean it's a good stretch of river because there's already people that are going to be using it. But definitely if you're looking for something a little more secluded, this probably is not your spot to go. When we were in Canada fishing, we knew that there was a really popular place that had bull trout in it. Big popular river. Well, then we also knew that those tributaries to that river would have bull trout. One of the rivers that we found turned out to be a great spot to fish. So maybe to get away from crowds from the main river, maybe you could go up a tributary somewhere. Those tributaries can hold just as many and just as big fish as the main river can.
Oh my God, dude.
Another good thing to see is maybe some larger deep holes. So we can see here that the river's kind of coming down through some trees. We've got a larger piece of water right here. So what that would tell you is that this is usually going to be an indication of a deep hole. Pretty dark in there. The water's maybe a little darker. It's a larger piece of the river, so it may not have as much current, but that could give you a little bit more variety on your float as well. So that way you're seeing some shallower water and some deep water. I like to have a float that's got a little bit of variance in it. This would be another great spot to target. I like to see some trees down in the water, and obviously looks like we've got some stumps, things around here. Definitely seeing some things like this is a pretty good indication that this is going to be a good smallmouth float. Yeah. So once you found the spot, it is very difficult from satellite view or Google Maps to tell if that's private access, public access, are you allowed to be there. Generally, look for the bridges. Also look for any sort of parks, any of the green areas that are in Google Maps could be a good indication possibly that that's a area that you're allowed to be. You could search boat ramps or public accesses on that river. If you just do that in the search bar. Without you actually going and looking at that area, sometimes you may not know if it is public or private. Generally, the accesses are gonna be right off of bridges. I can't speak to your state's regulations and rules about that. Kind of seems like all 50 states have different regulations on river access. So make sure that you do look up your own laws. Make sure you get familiar with your regulations. That way you kind of know, have a general idea of where you might be able to go, what you might be able to do while you're there. If you're out scouting something, talk to some local people that you see up there. If you see someone maybe mowing their grass while you're driving around, stop real quick and ask them if they could give you any information about fishing there. That's a really surefire way, and I've gotten access to some awesome places by doing that. People that are just super friendly, knowing that you're not down there littering the place or keeping any fish out of a river that they love. So a lot of times, as long as you're nice, they'll be nice right back to you and be able to give you some information on it. The final point is you just got to get out there and do it. You just got to put some pins on the map, route them on your phone, figure out what the quickest route is. Take a day off of fishing and just go drive to these pins. Go drive, park the car near a bridge, just go walk around, go check it out, go see these accesses for yourself, see if it works. You're going to hit a lot of dead ends. We did. I can't tell you how many tanks of gas and days that I've spent driving around all over this country looking at accesses, trying to figure out if it's a good spot to fish. I've had some absolute bangers, but I've also hit a lot of dead ends, some spots that I know aren't gonna work, and I've definitely found some spots that would work that the fishing wasn't good. And that's just simply gonna happen. It's just the name of the game. But with enough work, enough research, you'll absolutely find that secret river to you, that secret spot to fish that you love. And you'll learn a lot doing it. You may learn a lot about the area you live in, an area you're visiting, something you're interested in, and you'll see some more parts of the country. But at the very least, you're getting out, you're out of the house, you're off your phone, you're doing something active, and that's educational for you.
All right, thank you guys for watching. This is the first video of 3 that we shot down in Alabama, and the next 2 will be trickling out here in the next couple weeks. Big thank you to Adam and Steve for having me down in Alabama, and thanks to Adam for sharing some of his knowledge and some of his expertise on scouting and how to find new places to fish. I promise if you guys use some of these techniques and you put in a little time, you will be rewarded and you will find some awesome new places for you to fish. So for those of you guys who are interested in supporting Adam and Steve and their fly tying company, Blue Line Co., we're gonna be running a 25% discount on your entire order of their streamers and all the products that they offer on their website. So if you guys are interested in getting some of the flies that we use down in Alabama for smallmouth and some of the ones we use in BC for bull trout, that is all available on their website for you guys to order. So go support those guys, and I can't wait for you guys to see the next 2 videos that we've got coming.